House of Kuru, Part 2, Chapter 2. Words Don't Make Me Bleed. You have spoken about the great sons of Pandu. I have learned about their births in detail. But, O Guru Vaishampayana, curiosity has enslaved me. Please, tell me what happened to the son of Savitar, the mighty Vaikartana Karna. Tell me about his childhood. How did he grow? What were his parents like? Asked Janamejaya. And Vaishampayana continued. Years passed since a charioteer named Adhiratha found a baby in a weaving basket, and he could not have been happier. Both him and his wife enjoyed every second of the baby's coos, laughter, and mischief. Unfortunately, babies tend to grow up, and that's exactly what the little baby did. They decided to name him Vaikartana Karna, as mentioned on his golden breastplate, the one he was born with. Though he was also known as Radheya, the son of Radha, affectionately by the people around him. He grew up to be a devout worshipper of the sun god Savitar. Every morning he would prostrate 108 times in full devotion to the celestial orb that lit the day sky. Aside from his fervor to the god of the sky, the sun god, he was also very charitable. Though his parents were poor, as Adhiratha was a charioteer, he barely made enough to sustain the small family of 3. Karna found some way to help the poor. As he grew up, a deep and desperate desire to learn the art of warfare burned through him. His desire for glory, fame, and prowess were the only thoughts that entertained his mind. He would fantasize of great kings and warriors and hope to be one someday. Son, it is time you learned the family trade, said Adhiratha in a burly tone one day, holding on to the whip of a horse. Reality finally struck him. He was to be a charioteer. Not desirous of disappointing his father, he learnt the ropes of horsemanship. He became very good with a chariot and the horse in half the time of his father. Having first pleased his father, Karna approached him and said, Father, I have perfected my knowledge of the chariot. Please, dear father, bless me, for I do not wish to continue with this knowledge. I wish to learn the knowledge of the bow. I wish to be the best archer in the land of Hastinapura, implored the son of the sun god. Adhiratha's face held a somber look. Son, you are the son of a charioteer, and that is the course of life for you. It does not bode well for you to desire the path of an archer, said Adhiratha, as Karna's head sunk. Adhiratha loved his son dearly, and could not bear to see him look so crestfallen. Dear son, if I were but an archer, I would have taught you everything I know about the bow. But I, like my forefathers, have only learned the way of the whip. However, if you desperately desire the knowledge of the bow, you have my blessing, dear son, to learn it, said Adhiratha, as Karna's face shot up, beaming. And he fell at his father's feet in respect. Joy permeated to Adhiratha on seeing the happiness on his son's face as he lifted his foster son by the shoulders and said, Hear and heed my word of warning, son. The secret knowledge of the bow is only passed from teacher to student in the royal houses of kings and emperors, and not to charioteers. You will face insults, humiliation, and derogation from each of the royal houses when you request training, as charioteers are not archers, and must know their place in society, warned Adhiratha. But Karna brushed it off and said, Father, words don't make me bleed. The very next day, upon getting the blessings of his mother and father, Vaikartana left to seek knowledge of the bow. He first approached the great house of Kuru and was promptly sent away. He then travelled all across the land of Bharata seeking the training from anyone who would teach him. He met charlatans who tried to teach him the bow only to insult him and make fun of him. He traveled to great kingdoms like Vidarbha, Magadha, and Panchala, and begged for the training of the bow. He was laughed at and abused for even attempting to seek the knowledge. Days turned to weeks, and weeks to months. Karna had no one willing to teach him the laws of the bow. A dejected and humiliated son of a charioteer almost decided to give up. One day, after a particularly long day of begging at the land of Vidarbha, known for its exceptional archers, he turned away and he decided to rest under a tree. While resting, he overheard a group of bards talking. "The legendary warrior monk, the axe-wielding sage Parashurama is in Vidarbha," said one of the bards to the other. Yes, I heard about his battle with the son of Ganga, the guardian of Hastinapura, Bhishma, replied the other bard. "Well, guess what? He has just finished teaching a group of students and is now looking for more," said the first bard. When Karna shot up from under the tree and ran to the 9 bards. "Wise bards, I couldn't help overhearing your conversation. Is this true? Is the legendary warrior sage Parashurama looking for students?" asked Vaikartana, with an enormous desire for it to be true. "Yes, it is true, but he only teaches members of the priestly class," said the chief bard, and the bubble of hope burst in Karna before it could gather mass. Only the priestly class?" asked Karna. "Why, yes, don't you know, the axe-wielding sage hates the warrior class. He truly despises them," said the bard. Karna, red in the face, now asked slowly, Do you think a charioteer is a warrior?" "Absolutely. Do you not chauffeur your king or nobleman to war?" "Yes, dear friend, a charioteer is very much a warrior," said the bard, as Karna sighed deeply in resentment. Tears ran to his eyes. The only hope he had was now turned to dust, ruined. The bard took pity on Karna and asked, "You are of the warrior class, are you not?" And Karna nodded meekly. "Dear boy, why don't you approach one of the houses of nobility? I'm sure a strapping young lad like yourself would easily find the tuition you seek," inquired the bard. "Noble bard, as I am not royalty, the secrets of the bow are barred to me. I have approached every noble house in Bharata, and no, I have only met with humiliation, abuse, and insult. Parashurama was my last and only hope," sighed Karna. "There is one other way to learn the secrets of the bow," said the bard, and Karna once more had his spirits lifted. Tell me, O noble one. Please do not keep me in misery any longer," insisted Karna. "You will not like it," said the bard. "I will do anything you say, dear bard. Tell me, I implore you," begged Karna. "Lie to Parashurama," said the bard flatly. Lie? About my birth?" stammered Karna. "Yes, it is the only way I can see you learning the way of the bow. For a charioteer's son, you will not gain admission to any of the noble houses. And Parashurama will not teach a member of the warrior class," said the bard. Karna was once more crestfallen. Karna hated to lie. He never lied, not even in jest, and now his only option was to lie to the very person who was to teach him. "Decide soon, dear Karna. The warrior sage does not wait," warned the bard, as Karna got lost in deep thought. When he lifted his head, the bard had disappeared, along with all the 8 other bards who had followed him. The bard was the sun god Savitar himself, along with the 8 planets, in disguise to prod along the young warrior. That afternoon was the longest afternoon in his entire life. He kept mulling over the idea of either lying to his teacher or abandoning his dream of being a mighty archer. As the sun set on a teary-eyed Karna, he finally made up his mind to lie to the axe-wielding sage. He looked hard at the sunset and said, "Forgive me, God, for I plan to sin, but it is the only way." Wiping away tears on his brow and eyelids, he made his way to the hermitage of the sage. He traveled through the night and at the crack of dawn reached the ashram of the legendary sage known for the genocide of the entire warrior class centuries ago. The warrior sage Parashurama was immortal and near invincible. Guilt and fear wrenched Karna's stomach as he wondered what might happen. Would the sage simply cut off his head as soon as he saw him? Would he believe his lies? So many thoughts flooded his head. If he was going to lie about being a member of the priestly class, he might as well do it right, he thought. He tonsured his head by shaving out all his hair and keeping only a small tuft of his hair at the back of his head, just like members of the priestly class kept their hair. He then rubbed the red rising sun he paints every morning in the middle of both his eyebrows and replaced it with a simple small yellow dab of wet sandalwood in between his eyebrows. He donned the garb of a priest and tried his best to imitate the priestly class as much as he could. With hope in his eyes, he entered the ashrama of the warrior sage Parashurama. The sun god Savitar himself? Asked Vaikartana Karna to lie? Asked Janamejaya with a combination of jest and suspicion. Vaishampayana sighed and had a forlorn look on his face. My son, sometimes if the world is against you in every way, one must utilize every option. You will soon see why, O Prince of Men, Karna did what he did, said Vaishampayana. I see. And of my great-great-grandmother? Asked Janamejaya, as Vaishampayana continued.